Prep Eve, where we revolutionize how you prepare for IELTS. Today we'll be taking up yet another directive. So, good evening and welcome to one and all. Hello, guys. Okay, so what's the agenda for today's class? Let's have a look. So, the agenda is that we'll be discussing the fifth type of directive. I guess this is fifth or probably the seventh type of directive, which is discuss both sides, and along with that you have to give your own opinion. So here you have to discuss both sides and give your opinion. This would be a carry forward of the yesterday's lecture, in which we discussed the discuss both sides kind of question. Now, along with that, what else are we going to have a look at? We'll be learning the cohesive devices or the linking words. So I understand a lot of you guys have issues with usage of right connectors. So today we learn what kind of connectors should be used where and how you should decide whether it's overusage, underusage, or appropriate usage. When should we use a connector and when should we use it appropriately? Okay, so this is a little about us. We started our journey of helping you guys almost 3 years ago, and we have helped more than 35,000 students through our YouTube channel across 30 plus countries. Not only this, we've also provide one-to-one services wherein we have taken care of around 1,500 students as of now, and also the students come from a variety of different countries, be it Canada, US, UAE, Saudi Arabia, obviously India, Australia, and New Zealand. So whichever corner or part of the world you're in, you can enroll into these courses because we offer courses in different time zones, so you don't really have to worry about the timing. So whichever part of the world you're watching this video or this live from, we are there to help you out. Okay, these are the testimonials, and this is what we're going to focus on today: coherence and cohesion parameter. So we have dealt with this table at least 3 times, so the reason I follow up with the same slide again and again over the period of different sessions, the only reason is that so that it gets inside your head. So by now I'm hoping that this is the fourth time we'll be reviewing this particular slide, and we have done the same in the last 3 sessions also. So by now you should be clear what you have to provide the examiner so that you can get a great band score in this particular parameter. So I'll cut it short this time. I won't be telling you a lot of details about this parameter. What I'm going to tell you about is the 7 band score and the 9 band score. Quickly, I'm just going to read it out, and if you have any doubts you can drop it in the chat box, or else you can review the previous sessions and have a look at it. So you have to logically organize information and ideas, and there should be clear progression throughout. So basically means that your ideas should be logically sequenced. Number 2 is that you have to use a range of cohesive devices. This is going to be the highlight of today's session, and we'll be basically focusing on different types of connectors, and also we'll be learning how not to underuse them or overuse them. Then you have to also present a clear topic within each paragraph. So these are the 3 things that you should focus on. And to get a 9 band score, if you're aiming for a 9 band score in this parameter, then you have to make sure that your cohesion is smooth. There should be no unnecessary overusage, underusage, or unnecessary usage, so that it should not attract any attention. It should be very smooth. It should be just another word in your essay. It should not feel as if, oh yeah, he or she has used something. It should not, be like a hiccup in between your essay. It should be very smooth when the person is reading your essay or even in your letter. So skillfully manages paragraphing is the second thing that you have to be particular about. So you have to paragraph your essays in a manner that the structure is well maintained. Along with that, the ideas are logically sequenced. So these are the 2-3 things that you have to take care of so that you get a good band score in this parameter. So any doubts so far? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right. So, quick recap of this again. To achieve coherence and cohesion, you will have to logically sequence your ideas, which means that similar ideas should be clubbed together. For example, if you have 2 points related to health and 1 point related to, let's say, education, then you have to club the health points together and the education point has to be written separately. So if you're using firstly, secondly, thirdly as connectors, it would be incorrect if you say firstly physical health, secondly education, thirdly mental health. This would logically ruin the sequence of your ideas. It would be really illogical or irrational to sequence your ideas in this manner. So what we have to do is basically we have to combine together the points that talk about health. So we'll say firstly physical health, secondly mental health, thirdly education. So the similar ideas were put in close proximity to each other. Then you have to write in a structured manner. This is the structure that I personally follow. So it's your choice whether you want to make it 2 body paragraph essay or 3 body paragraph essay. And then we have use connectors, linking words to improve your cohesion. This is what we're going to focus on today's session. In today's session, we'll be focusing on these words. All right. Cohesive devices. So basically, if I give you a recap, they basically connect your sentences and paragraphs. So we'll see how and what kind of words would be combining different sentences together in a sensible manner, or different paragraphs for that matter. So to add similar information, when you have to add similar information, for example, when you're giving the pointers for advantages, when you're giving the examples for, let's say, disadvantages, or when you're giving the when you're supporting one side of the statement, when there are two opinions, like some people believe this, some people believe that, when you're giving similar information, you will be using these words. So in addition, moreover, furthermore, additionally, also, and not also, not only, but also. So these are the words which can be more or less used interchangeably. You can use them instead of one another. Not in all the cases, but in most of the cases, especially the first four. These four can be changed into each other in any sentence in 99% of the cases. So I want you guys to tell me one or two examples of when we can use moreover. I know it's not that interactive because you will have to type and it's going to be time consuming, but still, let's give it a shot. Let's try it out. Alright, so to add similar information, for example, if you have already given 1 point in favor of something and now you're giving another point, then you will use in addition. So you're saying that, let's say you're talking about the importance of, yeah, when we are adding new information. So if you're first of all talking about, like, let's say physical health, so you're saying physical health, to begin with, physical health is going to get deteriorated, then you will say in addition to that, or moreover, or furthermore, or additionally, the mental health might also deteriorate. Okay, or the mental health might also get negatively impacted. So this is how you'll use these words. Then all of us know how to use and also. These are common words. And how about not only but also? How many of you can frame a sentence for not only but also? I'll give you a situation in which you have to talk about physical health and mental health. So combine these two with not only but also. Yes, you guys are absolutely correct. Anjali, Manpreet, Mandeep, and Muruga, everybody has correctly mentioned it. So good job. Mandeep says physical exercise is good for muscle, body muscle. Moreover, this increases mental strength of a person. Perfectly fine. So this is how you have to write it. Okay. So anybody who wants to attempt not only but also. How do you use not only but also in a sentence? Let's be quick. I want to make this session as interactive as possible. I could have just read this slide and moved on to the other slide, but I want you guys to try at least one or two of these connectors from every slide. So do that as quickly as possible so that we can wind up the session in 1 hour. Okay, so I'll help you out if you guys are not sure what to write. So you will be saying not only. Is anyone attempting or should I get started? Okay, Monica has written sports not only improve the physical health of students but also support their mental health. Very nicely written. Good job, Monica. Well done. Now let's see the next one. Shah says physical exercise is not only for physical strength but also mental health. Okay, the usage is correct, but however, you can use better ending after but also. You can write something else. Okay, exercise helps people to maintain not only good mental health but also good physical health. Very nicely done. Muruga, the only problem if you write this sentence in your IELTS essay is that you are repeating health twice in the same sentence and you're not showcasing any variety in your usage of words. So you can change it into exercise helps people to maintain not only their mental health but also their physical well-being, or you can say but also their physiological well-being. So physical can be changed into physiological, health can be changed into well-being, or in certain cases you can also write development, right? Okay, you guys are good with this connector, so I guess I don't have to explain it. You guys are doing it well. Not only sports helps in building cognitive skills, but also, okay, that's incomplete. Okay. Yoga not only gives physical strength, but also provides us with better spiritual health. Perfectly fine. Oh wow, Monica, that's a good one. Preppy sessions are not only informative but also very interactive. Thank you so much. That's a compliment in shape of an example. So thank you so much. The car not only is economical but also feels good to drive. Not bad. So whenever, okay, one thing that you need to know is whenever you're using not only but also, it should have similar information. So you can say, like if I give you a very basic example, you can say not only is she pretty but also intelligent. So you're giving two positives. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to give two negatives, you will say not only is she ugly, but also stupid. Okay, these are two similar things. Now, if you give one positive and one negative, then this connector will not work. Then it would be incorrect usage. So whenever you have to use not only but also as a cohesive device, you have to make sure that whatever you write after not only and whatever you write after but also, both the things should be similar. Okay, so if you write not only is he ugly but also intelligent, makes no sense, right? If you give one positive and one negative attribute or trait, then it would make no sense. It would be incorrect usage. So always remember, when you're using not only but also, you have to give similar information. Shiva, the class has just started. This is almost the first slide. Before that, whatever we have covered has already been done in the previous session, so you don't have to worry. Pooja, we are discussing cohesive devices, which are also known as connectors. and these are the first set of connectors which are used to add similar information. Whenever you have to add similar information, same type की information जब आपने देनी है, that in that case, in that scenario, you'll be using these words. Okay, should we move ahead? Okay, so this is for adding similar information. Now to give contrasting information. Okay, before we go on, you guys tell me what are the connectors that we can use to give contrasting information. क्या क्या दे सकते हैं? Most of you might have gone through that slide because by mistake I forwarded it. But you have to tell me uh, the connectors or the cohesive devices which can be used to add contrasting information, or by contrasting we mean opposite information. Okay, what all connectors can be used to give contrasting information? However, perfectly fine. Anu, your example is perfectly correct. In contrast, okay, on the other, it's not on the another hand, it's on the other hand. Okay, however, nevertheless, although, sharp, perfectly fine, despite, however, instead of, on the contrary. Vanita, good, but you have to write on the contrary. Monica says in contrast, on the other hand side. So Manpreet, on the other hand is sufficient. You don't have to use side. On the other hand side is not needed. Just use on the other hand. Nevertheless, having said that, okay, having said that is also correct. However, on the contrary, by contrast, despite of, although, even though, whereas, however, although. Good job, guys, good job. So let's quickly have a look at the connectors. However, nevertheless, even though, although, in comparison, you can also use this one. Okay, in spite of, despite, in contrast, instead, on the other hand, alternatively, but. So but is the simplest one. All of us have used but in our day-to-day communication, even if it's spoken or written. So these are the words. Do you guys want me to explain any one of these words, or are you clear with this? If you have doubts with any one of these words, just let me know. Otherwise, I guess there's nothing tricky in this particular slide. Manpreet, I personally don't recommend the usage of on the flip side, because we have on the other hand which is more formal and sophisticated. So I would not recommend you to use on the flip side. All clear. All right. That's great. So let's move on to the next slide. Have a look at these for a minute and try and understand each one of them. Try to frame a sentence in your head, and then I'll move on. Okay, Neerav and Amritpal are asking the example for in spite of and despite. So despite, so you can use despite the advantages, comma, and then you can give the disadvantages. So despite. Despite is basically similar to instead. Okay. In spite of is also more or less similar to these itself. In spite of the advantages, we also have certain disadvantages. All right. So to list your ideas, this is the simplest slide, I guess. All of us know how to use firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, lastly, finally. So this is how you would list your ideas. So these are the connectors used when you're listing your ideas. These are pretty simple. Whenever you're writing your first idea, you can use firstly. When you write your second idea, you can write secondly. thirdly, fourthly, or finally, or lastly, whatever you want to write for your last idea. Now, the benefit of using firstly, secondly, thirdly, and lastly is that when you use these connectors, as soon as you start with secondly, the examiner or the reader understands by default that you have ended the first point and you have moved on to the second point. Similarly, when you start with your third point and you use thirdly, the examiner is clear that he or she has ended her second point and now is starting with the fresh point after she has written the word thirdly. Okay, so this is how you can make it very clear cut to the reader that you are moving from one idea to the other or from one point to the other. All right. Yes, Nirav, that's perfectly fine. Despite having benefits, there are few drawbacks too. That's perfectly fine. Uh, okay. What about examples? So the next slide is about how to give examples by using cohesive devices or connectors. So quickly tell me a few ways of stating or giving examples. How can you give examples? Don't use to trigger with, that's not a good way of writing. Okay, anybody who wants to tell me what are the connectors that we can use in case of giving examples? For instance, Anu, why would you write to conclude? When we have to give examples, what are the connectors that you use while giving examples? To illustrate, to exemplify, for instance, for example, evidently, hence and since. No, I don't think so. When you're giving an example, you would not use hence or since. That's incorrect. So, Muruga, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing your name. You should not be using hence and since, okay? Okay, good job, guys. More or less, you've covered all the connectors to use the example or to give the example. So we have for example, to illustrate, to exemplify, for instance, such as, namely. So such as and namely, I want to clarify one thing. Please listen to me carefully. Such as and namely are to be used when you're giving certain examples. A lot of time I have observed this personally while correcting n number of writings that people would give the example using the word like, Like. So you'll say that, you know, tourist places like Egypt, Goa, Thailand. Okay, so instead of giving examples using the word like, you have to use such as or namely. So whenever you're listing down tourist places or tourist destinations, you have to say tourist destinations such as London, New York, blah blah blah. Okay, or you have to use namely Goa, Gangtok, blah blah blah. Okay, so you have to be very particular with the usage of such as and namely. Do not mix it with the usage of like. When do we use the word like? When do we use this word? Can any one of you tell me when like is used? See, like is used when you're giving some similarity. He looks like his father. Okay, similarity. So there's some similarity in the facial features of the father and the son. So the son looks like his father, or the daughter looks like her mother. So in that case, you use the word like to showcase similarity, and like should not be used in case of giving example. A lot of you make this mistake by saying that public transportation like buses, trains, metros, etc. So like is not used in that context. If you use like to give the example of public transportation or tourist destination, it would be incorrect. Alright. Now, in case of giving your opinion, there are 4-5 simple ways of doing so. So these are very simple. Each one of you know about these. In my opinion, I believe, according to me, I agree, or I disagree. So any explanation that you require from my end on this particular slide, just let me know. Otherwise, I personally feel that you guys are well versed with these 4 ways of giving an opinion. Okay, so done and dusted. Let's move on to the next slide. In my perspective, good Manpreet, in my perspective is also another way of stating your opinion. So good job. Alright, so the next slide is going to ask you the connectors after you're giving some reason or explanation. What are the connectors that you would use if you have to give some reasons or if you have to give some explanation? So any idea about this? What kind of connectors do we use to give reasons or explanation? Yes, guys, you are completely fine with what you have written, my point of view, my perception, as per my perspective, according to my perception. Okay, all of that is clear. Moving on to the next slide. To give explanations or reasons, you have to use these words: because, owing to, as, due to, since. So these are yet again very common words. We have been using these words ever since our childhood, during our school days, and throughout our childhood and our adulthood. These are very common words and these exist in our sentences even without any conscious effort. So you end up using because, owing to, as, due to, since in a very comfortable manner. Yes, due to explain, that's also fine. To explain this, to be more specific, that's also fine. But when you're giving reasons, then you have to use because. Okay, because basically means isliye. Alright. So I'm moving on to the next slide. To explain the result and consequence, we use these words. So somebody had mentioned in the chat box these words when I was asking to give the connectors that have to be used before giving an example. Now, these are not to be used before giving an example. These are to be used before giving some consequence. क्या होने वाला है या क्या result है? Before that, you have to use these words. So therefore, hence, thus, consequently, as a result. So when you're telling the result or the repercussion of something, for example, you're saying that you're talking about COVID-19 or coronavirus, and you are talking about the fact that it is infecting so many people and the death rate is increasing. So after you're given the entire explanation, you will say, therefore, I would request you to stay indoors and stay safe. So first of all, you have given the entire explanation of what the COVID-19 or coronavirus is. Then you're giving the consequence. Then you're saying, therefore, you should not go out. Therefore, you should not do this. Okay, so that is how you'll be using hence, thus, therefore. These are more or less these can be more or less interchangeably used. Consequently is similar to that. You're telling the consequence as a result. इसके बाद क्या होगा? Okay, so this is what you have to use. Okay, okay, this might lead to is also fine. eventually it follows that. Yes, you can also write that as a consequence. So perfectly fine. So these are yet again pretty simple. Let's move ahead. What can we use to conclude our essay? How can we conclude our essay using different connectors? To conclude, perfectly fine, Amit. What else? Okay, guys, quick. Perfectly fine, Nirav, to recapitulate. Okay, so these are the words to conclude and conclusion, to recapitulate, to encapsulate. So these are the words you can use. Do not use in a nutshell. I would recommend you to not use that connector. Do not use in a nutshell. Okay, that's informal in nature. Do not use that. To sum up is fine. To summarize is also fine. These are the basic ones. You can write any of these if you want to add to summarize, or you can write to sum up. All in all is also fine, but it's yet again kind of informal. So it's better that you choose one among these. Sharon, do not use in a nutshell. I would recommend you to not do that. No. Yes, Vanita, in summary is perfectly fine. Okay, Satnam, in conclusion is also correct. Let's move ahead. So everybody is clear with the different types of cohesive devices. Now let's move on to the directives. Okay, so Vivan is asking about finally. Finally is used in case of listing your ideas. Do not use finally to summarize. It's better that you use to summarize, to sum up, to conclude, in conclusion. These words can be used when you're concluding or winding up your essay. Okay? Alright, so yet again a quick recap. Choose a side is basically done and dusted. View both sides would end today. We'll be completing view both sides kind of directives today. And from tomorrow onwards, we'll be starting with describe slash explain. Okay, describe or explain questions. So choose a side had three subtypes: agree or disagree. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give your opinion. These have been already discussed, and unfortunately, I guess agree or disagree video is missing. So I'm so sorry about that. There's some bug, but we'll try to fix it. So this is what we have already gone through, and then view both sides is what we were taking up for the last few sessions. So advantages and disadvantages has been completed. Advantage, disadvantage plus opinion is also done and dusted. We dealt with discuss yesterday, and today we'll be dealing with discuss plus opinion. So discuss plus opinion, we'll be dealing up with the same question because the result of the polls were like this. So the poll results said that, ma'am, please discuss the same question because it will lead to better understanding. So 62% of you people wanted me to discuss the same question. So that's what I'm going to do, because democracy and your wishes are my command. So this is the question. The only change from what we discussed yesterday is that in today's question we have added give your opinion. If you guys were attending yesterday's session, this was the question, but there was no give your opinion. We had to just discuss both sides. In today's question, we are also supposed to give our opinions. So quickly write down your opinion in the chat box. What do you think about this question? I'll reread the question. So some people think that parents should teach children how to be good members of the society. This is one perspective. Some people think about this. A certain section of the society thinks that parents should be held responsible. That is group A. Group B thinks that school is the place to learn this and become good members. So Group A supports parents, Group B supports school, and now you have to tell what you think. Okay, you have to give your opinion today. So what would be your opinion? So read the question, understand it, and then let me know your opinion. Come on, guys. Think about it and let me know. Okay, so let's quickly. Okay, Anu says 50-50, perfectly fine. I'll also go with 50-50. I agree with the former view of the statement. This is what Shah says. Shah says that he feels parents should be held more responsible than schools. That's also perfectly fine. So you are opting for the 80-20 approach that we discussed in agree disagree kind of questions. So Monica says, in my opinion, role of parents is primary in shaping children's social manners. However, role of school is also indispensable. So Monica, considering your opinion, I feel you are also going for the 50-50 approach. You're saying that both are equally important. Is that correct? Is that what you're trying to say? Amritpal says, in my perspective, educational institutes should be better for students in order for them to being good persons in society. There's some grammatical error, Amritpal. Apart from that, you are favoring the group B. You're basically saying that schools are more important, right? So you are taking, I guess, 100%. You're 100% favoring the schools. Like schools should be held responsible. Parents should not be held responsible at all. Okay, Mandeep says former view. When you say former view, do you mean all the responsibility lies on the parents or some of it lies on the parents? So you have to be very clear about your opinion. If you're saying all the responsibility lies on the parents and you're saying 100% should be focused on parents, then you should not be writing anything about schools. Then you have to write 4 points in favor of parents. And if you're telling about okay, so Manpreet says, in my perspective, schools are the best place for making good citizens to children's of the. There's no word called children's. Children's is incorrect. The plural of child it is children, not children's. Piyush says, in my opinion, the entire responsibility cannot be left for school, that the children should be ready as primary role should be for parents. Home is the first place to learn new things for kids. Now, see, your idea is correct, but the way you have expressed your idea is grammatically incorrect. The sentence structure is not right, Piyush. So, give it another attempt. Try and write it properly. Yes, Neerav, you're right. Kids is informal. Yeah, Mandeep, I meant to say that obviously this is a discuss both side question, but I meant that you have to write more about the parents part or the former part when you're giving your opinion. Okay, in that case, you have to favor the former part more. So you have to emphasize on that more. Mandeep, technically, all the questions that are discussed both sides, in that case, you won't take one complete side. According to me, and I guess according to most of the people who are watching the video, they would think that both parents and schools are important. Okay, it could be 50-50, it could be 80-20, but it can never be 100%. You cannot say that only parents are responsible, and you cannot say that only schools are responsible. So it's always going to be, if you think logically, it will always be the role of both parents and school teachers or the school administration to take care or to ensure that the children or the students come out to be good citizens or good members of the society. So if you're deliberately saying that 100% support should be given to parents or 100% support should be given to schools, that's going to be incorrect. You won't even have enough points to elaborate, right? Sammy, parents are the footprint of their kids is an incorrect statement and does not make any sense. Okay, so you have to say the action of the parents are the footprints, okay, or what the parents do, or you can say that the child will follow the footprints of their parents and not that the parents are footprints. Okay, that would be incorrect. So Mandeep, 80-20 basically means that you're favoring one side more than the other. You're saying parents are more accountable. However, teachers are also accountable to a certain extent. And if you're taking 80-20 in the reverse order, then you will be saying 80% schools are responsible. However, 20% parents are also responsible. But when you're writing the opinion, you will not use these figures 80 or 20. You will be simply saying I majorly agree that parents should be held responsible for the outcomes of how the child would be in the adulthood. However, we cannot ignore the relevance or we cannot ignore the importance of teachers in making them good citizens. Okay, so this is how you'll be writing your opinion. Okay, so let's quickly go back to the question. So this was the question. Here we'll just have to change. So some people think that parents should teach children how to be good members of the society. Others, however, believe that school is the place to learn this. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. Now we have already brainstormed yesterday, so we'll be just quickly having a look at it. So the ones who support parents would say that parents have more accountability on the child right from the beginning. Okay, and they're also the primary teachers or the first teachers for every child is their parents, and also their house is the first school for every child. The third point is role models. So parents act as role models, and children follow their footprints. Children follow the footprints of their parents, and they also imitate them. Therefore, the responsibility of nurturing them to become good members of the society is dependent upon the parents. The fourth point could be better understanding because they have an emotional bond. Somebody yesterday mentioned in the chat that because of better understanding between the parent and the child, they would end up obeying them much more than the others. So, this is what you can write in case of parents. Do you want to add anything else today? Anyone wants to attempt anything? Piyush, this is much better. However, you have written the spelling of opinion incorrectly twice. It's OPI. Thank you, Arshdeep. Okay, let's move on to schools. Why do you think that schools are the place to learn this or to become good members of the society. So the reasoning that we can give that why schools should take the responsibility of making good members of the society. So these are the reasons that you had given us yesterday. This was the discussion. So let's quickly see. So some of you guys mentioned that teachers hold an authoritative position. They hold a position of authority, and because of that the children will obey the teachers and would learn the value system or would learn the code of conduct to behave in a society. Okay, so this would be the first reason why people would support schools. The next reason is certain values are learned in a group. So when you're going to the school, you are sitting with 20, 30 or 40 other students in your classroom, and it's a group scenario. So you'll be learning different skills such as sharing, cooperation, tolerance, interpersonal skills, communication skills. So all these skills would prepare you to become a good member of the society in your adulthood. Okay, third point is exposure to different backgrounds. Because you're in a classroom of 40 people or 30 students, you are engaged with different mindsets, you're engaged with different personalities, you're engaged with children from different backgrounds, be it socio-economic or cultural background. So you would not become a racial discriminator. You will not discriminate people on the basis of their religion, race, caste, class if you are brought up in a proper manner in your school. Let alone if the school incorporates this emotion, that's it's totally incorrect, that should not be done. But if you're going to a good school and the teachers are sensible, then you would become a good human and you would learn to respect everyone equally, be it from any caste, class, religion, region or community. So this will also prepare you for the adulthood and for becoming a good member of the society. Next up is hostel or working parents. So if, now this is the condition, if the parents are working or if the child is in a boarding school, in that case teachers become more responsible because the child is not with the parents and is with the school administration or is in the boarding school. So the responsibility lies in the hands of the school administration. Lastly, somebody also mentioned yesterday that moral education is taught in schools and they tell what are the do's and what are the don'ts, what is right, what is wrong. And accordingly, children learn what should be done and what should be avoided in a social situation. Okay. Okay, perfectly fine, Manpreet, because they spend a lot of time or plethora of time in school. Uh, Okay, guys, so it's your choice whether you want to write about moral education or not. Our schools did teach us that, so it really depends upon how you. So somebody mentioned that these days schools are not like Gurukul. Okay, so these are the points. Let me make the changes in the essay that we wrote yesterday, and you guys can follow up and let me know if you want to ask any doubts. So people have differing opinions on who should be held responsible for imbibing in young ones the art of being righteous citizens. A certain section of the society believes that the onus should lie on the parents, while the other others, or while the rest trust in the educational institutions or institutes for the same. So this is our introduction, and we have paraphrased the question so far. Now in yesterday's essay there was no opinion, so we did not write any thesis statement, but today, since the question has asked us for the opinion, we'll be writing the opinion. So we'll write it somewhere here. So what have I written? Have written, in my opinion, both are equally significant in shaping their personality. So I have given equal importance, or I have taken 50-50 stance that parents are also important and teachers are also important, or schools are also important in helping children or in nurturing or shaping children to become a good member of the society. So why have I written the word personality here? Because personality also refers to the characteristics of the person. Okay, so you can also write shaping their personality. So anybody who has any doubts so far? Okay, this is how you add your opinion. Then you would write, this essay will discuss both perspectives in the following paragraphs along with my. So you can write opinion or stance or viewpoint, anything can be written. Alright, this is how you write. This becomes your introduction. So the body paragraphs would remain the same, because yet again we are taking 50-50 approach. So we have written one paragraph about parents, and we have written the other paragraph about schools. So let's quickly go through. Considering the former thought process, some of the reasons are discussed below. To begin with, parents and guardians are the primary teachers, and their home is the first school for every child. Therefore, it should be ensured that moral values such as honesty, respect. So here, such as, I've used such as here. If you use like, it would be incorrect. यहाँ पे like नहीं use करना है. You have to use the word such as, or you can use the word namely. Okay. So this would become another connector that we discussed today itself. So therefore, it should be ensured that moral values such as honesty, respect, discipline are inculcated in them from their childhood itself. Moreover, so this becomes my second point now. Moreover, and why have I used moreover? Because we're talking about similar information. We started with similar information from here. We started talking about parents. Now we are continuing and giving another point about parents itself. Therefore, we have used the word moreover. Okay. So if you're giving similar information, you write moreover. Offsprings look up to their parents as role models, especially in their formative years, and try to imitate their actions. Okay? Consequently and therefore was similar. Remember, when you're giving some repercussion or reasoning. So consequently, it becomes their duty to practice what they preach so that they can differentiate between the right and the wrong. So far we have discussed about parents, and when we were adding similar information, we wrote the word moreover. When we were giving example, we wrote such as, and when we were giving some reasoning or we were telling about the repercussions or what will happen, we have written consequently. Okay. Now, on the contrary, Here you can write the words on the contrary, however, in contrast. So these words can be written here. So whoever was talking about what do you mean by however, basically however is when you're giving contrasting information. Okay, so far we were talking about parents in the first paragraph. Now in the second paragraph we are talking about schools, why schools are important in shaping the personality of the child. Therefore we have written on the contrary कि एक चीज तो हो गई, अब हम दूसरी की बात कर रहे हैं. So here you can also start this paragraph with on the one hand and this one with on the other hand. Okay, so on the contrary, schools are believed to be manufacturers of sensible members of the community because of the following reasons. Firstly, now here why have we used firstly and secondly? Because we're listing ideas. Whenever you're listing different ideas, you'll be using firstly, secondly, and depending upon how many ideas you're listing, you'll write thirdly, fourthly, lastly, whatever you want to write. So firstly, after the initial years at home, they are enrolled into an institution where they spend most of the time with their teachers and classmates, which reduces the influence of parents to a certain extent. So what we're trying to say is, जब तक बच्चा स्कूल नहीं जा रहा, till the time the child is not going to the school, the influence of the parents is higher. Therefore, the focus or the responsibility should lie on the parents. But as soon as the child is enrolled into a school, then the responsibility shifts to the teachers and it reduces for the parents. Okay, hence is similar to therefore, consequently, as mentioned above. So here we write, it becomes the duty of the school administration to build a strong belief system. Secondly, this is my second point, tutors have an authoritative position. Okay, because they're strict and they have this position of authority, so the teachers utilize this time to instill the acceptable code of conduct. According to a recent survey, now I'm giving an example, so this can also work as a connector. School going children are better disciplined than the ones who do not go. So this was the example given by Anu yesterday. So this is it. Then we have written in conclusion. Now the conclusion would change. Body paragraphs remain as it is because we are taking 50-50 approach, because I'm saying both are equally significant. Okay, now how will we write the conclusion? Anybody wants to attempt the conclusion? Make the changes in this conclusion itself if you want to. Yes, Manpreet, you can do that. And Samir, inculcated means imbibing in someone some quality. Sikhana, basically, teaching someone. Okay, anybody who wants to attempt the conclusion quickly. So we can say both parents and teachers complement each other in nurturing the youngster Okay, so is this fine? So here we have also given that both complement each other. So we have written that both are important. So you can also use words that words such as collaborative action or joint effort by both parents and teachers. So you can also write something like, in conclusion, it is evident from the above mentioned points that you can write something like collaborative efforts of both parents and teachers. Now I'm changing it. Don't use both complement each other and collaborative efforts. We use one of them. So that collaborative efforts of both parents and teachers lead to, so this will be removed, lead to nurturing the youngster in becoming a responsible citizen. So these are different ways of writing. So I'll just write down certain words instead of changing it again and again. So one is, you can write collaborative effort. Then you can write joint responsibility of both parents and teachers. Then you can write complement each other, as I have written before. So again, you can write both are equally important. Important, relevant, or you can say, yeah, so basically these are the words you can use in your conclusion to showcase the fact that both are equally important. All right. So in conclusion, no doubt parents play a paramount role in children's life, but according to me, school is the better place for making good citizens to children of the community, owing to the fact. So you don't have to repeat yourself, Manpreet. If you are writing in favor of schools, then the only change would be, if you're writing the 80-20 approach, since you were asking, then you write 2 points in your first body paragraph and 3 points in your second body paragraph, because you're favoring schools more. Okay, so 3 points, or you just add more value to schools. Okay, when you're writing, you add more value to schools as compared to parents. So that's the only change you have to make in terms of the 80-20 approach. So I don't have to actually make a separate session. 50-50 approach basically means you write the introduction, you write the first body paragraph, and you write 2 points in favor of group A. Then you write the second body paragraph and write 2 points in favor of group B, and then you give your conclusion and you make it 50-50. This is how you write a 50-50 essay. When it comes to 80-20, again your introduction remains the same, just the thesis statement would change, and you will write something like, I majorly agree to the fact that schools should be given the responsibility of making children better citizens. However, the importance of parents cannot be ignored. Okay, now here you're favoring schools 80% and parents 20%. Now you will be writing 3 points in favor of schools and 2 points in favor of parents, and 1 paragraph for each, and then you'll write your conclusion. In your conclusion, instead of writing these words which showcase 50-50, you will write that one is more than the other. As you have mentioned here, you will say that, in my opinion, schools have a little more responsibility, or schools should be focusing more on nurturing the student or the pupil in becoming a good citizen by giving them moral education as compared to parents. All right. Hi Richa, you joined quite late. We are almost going to wind up the session. But no worries. What you can do is you can watch this playlist from the beginning, and tomorrow we'll be here at 7:15. So you can join at 7:15 and start from the very beginning. Right now we are just going to wind up this essay. Manpreet, am I clear? Do you want me to repeat it once more? So everybody who had this confusion how to give our opinion in case of discuss both sides, first of all, in case of discuss both sides, it's usually easier to take 50-50 stance. Okay, if you're taking 50-50 stance, then you will be writing um, 2 points in body paragraph 1 about one group, 2 points about body paragraph about the group B in body paragraph 2, and then you write your conclusion in a equal manner. All right, and in case of 80-20, you will write more about one thing and lesser about the other thing. All right, I hope I'm clear. And to all the people who have stayed together so far, I'm pretty sure you liked the session. That's the reason you're sticking with me for 1 hour. And I would recommend all of you guys to hit the thumbs up button right now. So this is yet again a quick recap of how you have to write your introduction and your conclusion and your body paragraph. So this is introduction, paragraph, paraphrase, thesis statement, outline sentence. Body paragraphs, you have to write your first idea, elaborate it, give an example, and repeat it. So kind of memorize this slide. And then in your conclusion, yet again, you do not have to add any new information, do not restate any of your ideas. And all you have to do is wind up your essay by keeping in mind the question as well as the opinion. So in today's essay, because of the words equally important, collaborative effort, or complement each other, because I've used these words, that showcases that I have incorporated my opinion in my conclusion. All right, so that's it for today. Any doubts from your side? Okay, so a quick note on what we do in our personalized guidance course. So it's one-to-one, which basically means one trainer, one student. So you get dedicated 1 hour of attention from the trainer, and you can ask as many questions and as many doubts as you want to. And the sessions are taken at the time of your choice when you're ready to take the class, provided you fix one time slot and you stick with it throughout the course. All right, on top of that, whatever we are doing in our YouTube videos is more of theoretical knowledge. When you join a one-to-one personalized course, we will be dealing with your personal mistakes. So a lot of people call and ask what's the difference between the YouTube videos or the YouTube live sessions and your personalized course on Skype. So basically the difference is that in this case I am writing my own essay and I'm telling you how it is done. In case of the one-to-one personalized guidance course, we will be basically asking you to submit your essays and your letters and your task ones in case of academic, the report writing, and we will be evaluating each and every line of your writing. Okay, so we'll be taking care of your personal mistakes. So some of you might be making mistakes with regards to the preposition, others might be making with regards to usage of articles or singular plural. So each one of you has unique mistakes. Some of you might be struggling with sentence structure, some of you might be struggling with idea generation. So we'll be dealing with your specific problems and we'll be helping you out in overcoming your troubles individually. So that's the reason we basically recommend one-to-one classes, because each of you would have unique mistakes with regards to your speaking as well. So some of you might have issues with your pronunciation. So we'll be taking care of the fact that you pronounce the words correctly. Some of you might be failing to be fluent, so we'll also be taking care of that. Then some of you might not have enough vocabulary and might find it difficult to frame sentences because of the dearth or shortage of words. So we'll also be recommending you vocabulary and words that can be used with regards to the topic. So topic specific vocabulary will also be dealt with. So Grammar, needless to say, grammar will also be covered in both your writing and your speaking. So this is how the course would be. And when it comes to listening and reading, we will be doing three things. Number one, we'll be figuring out what kind of questions you're going wrong in. Then we'll be figuring out why you're going wrong in those questions. Is it lack of concentration, lack of time management, slow reading speed, not being able to understand the accent in case of your listening test, or is it basically not understanding the content? What is the issue? We'll figure out that issue, and the third step will be to give you strategies to overcome these issues. And during the session, we'll solve the questions in front of you live. So it's going to be face to face on Skype. So we'll be solving the question in front of you. We'll be telling you how it should be done. So only your problems would be focused on, and we customize the course according to the needs of our students. So if you're lacking in writing, we'll give more sessions to writing and lesser number of sessions to another module in which you're already scoring 7 or 8 bands. So let's say you're scoring 8 bands in your listening, but you're stuck with 6 or 5.5 or 6.5 in your writing. So we'll be giving more sessions to writing and less sessions to listening because you're already good with it. Okay, so this is how we customize the course. We provide a very practical approach because each session with us is a mock test, and there's flexibility of timings. In case if you're working, you're tired, and you cannot take the class, you can get it rescheduled as well. So individual attention is the major highlight according to me, because we will be dealing with your problems. So this is what we do in the Skype sessions. And any doubts with regards to the session that we had today on cohesion coherence, we discussed the directive type which says discuss both sides and give your opinion. And the third thing that we did today was the usage of connectors. So I hope you're clear with what the coherence and cohesion parameter is all about. Number two, you're clear how to write, discuss both sides and give your opinion. Number three, you have understood how to use connectors and where to use them. So even in today's essay, I have highlighted the connectors that have been used in the essay. Yes, Goyanka, we have a paid course. So I was just discussing about the paid course. This is the paid course. You can call on the number given below, and we can discuss about it in detail. Samir Desai, I'm not sure what you're asking. Can you use better than? I'm not sure what you're asking. So that's it from my side. Please go back and review of all of the connectors that we discussed today. And I hope the session was fruitful and you liked. So yet again, a quick recap of whatever we did, or let's just wind up quickly. 50-50, one paragraph each, and you take 50-50 approach in your opinion as well as in your conclusion. However, if it's 80-20, you write more points about the statement that you're favoring 80% and less points about the statement that you're favoring 20%. And in accordance with 80-20, your opinion and your conclusion will also change. And in your opinion, you will use words like I majorly agree, however, slight focus or some amount of importance should also be given to the other statement. And in case of your conclusion also, you will be emphasizing the fact that one of them is more important, like schools are more important because major chunk of time is spent in schools. However, parents should also contribute to it because they are the first or the primary teachers of every child. So that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining, and bye bye, take care. You're welcome, Rajvi. Thank you so much, Anu, for staying with us. You're one of the most regular viewers. Thank you so much. Jaspreet, thank you. I hope all your doubts were cleared. So please subscribe to the channel, share this video, share the entire playlist with your friends, because it's always good to share information that you like so that others can also benefit from it. So share it with your friends so that they can also join in the interactive live sessions for tomorrow, and also they can learn from whatever is being taught. So thank you so much. Like, subscribe and share. Thank you.